¿Qué Iván? ¿Cómo andas? Ok. Este,
Pásame, si quieres, el screenshot, nada más para ver dónde. Y ahorita me meto, porque voy a empezar ahorita una conferencia en 3 minutos.
Ok,
¿Sí?
sale. Déjate paso el switch.
Sí, pásame eso y lo... Un minutito para esperar a nuestro panelista. Está incorporando. Okay, just wait a couple of minutes. We are just experiencing some problems for the next panelist connection. Hold on a few minutes, please. Uh, so we're experiencing some problems. We will be there in a couple of minutes. Hold on one second, please.
Hold on. I think I'm in.
Okay, sorry for the delay. That we had some technical issues here, but now we are in. Okay, let me introduce you Dave Martinez. Dave Martinez is one of the main J sponsors, I think worldwide. He's based in San Francisco, and he's a great guy pushing startups all throughout the world, but especially in Latin America. He's been in Chile, Colombia, and many other places supporting Latin American startups to go to the next level. And this is what he's doing with Jay. And I would like to introduce Dave. By the way, he has been working on many technologies. One of them was the Google Glasses that he started with. So yeah, let's just move forward with Dave and his talk and his keynote about which way to go with our new reality. Dave, nice to have you here.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you okay.
Oh, great. Well, you look fabulous with your glasses and your earphones and all that. So,
Thank you, Dave.
welcome. I'm actually here in right off of San Francisco. I'm actually at the beach, sheltering in place, actually.
Wow.
And taking some time off, but working from our space. And welcome everybody, and glad to be here. And we are live, actually. So our world has changed immensely. I'm sure it's changed for all of you there. This sheltering in place and working through a pandemic, and now we're having some civil unrest here in the United States in the last few days. I'm sure you've seen. And that has also changed our business again. As we were just getting going again, now our business is going to change again because many of the stores have reclosed and are shutting down. So now we are in another phase we've been in 2 or 3 phases, but as businesses and companies as we are, you have to understand pivoting. Pivoting is very important. If you're running a business or being an entrepreneur, business is not as usual. As you know, that you can't just go out and go somewhere to get something anymore. You can't just go out to a restaurant anymore. You can't do all these things. So when that starts to happen, we have to look at other avenues of work, other avenues of creating business. Now, our business is being a venture company and working with different companies in Mexico and here in the United States and all over the globe. We recognized right away that there was a big problem. We know office buildings are starting to empty and businesses were emptying. What do we do? What are we going to do? And so I got to say this, through the pandemic, our company has done much better. And because we seized new opportunities, we're streaming live concerts now because we realized that the concert venues where you went to a stadium to view your favorite band or your favorite concert, or football game. Can't do that anymore. So we created a company that streams like Netflix or something like that. It's called How Live, and we're streaming parades. We're streaming concerts and charging for that. We just had one for. There's a big parade every year in San Francisco called Carnival. 400,000 people come to it. Couldn't do it this year, so the city and us, we put together Carnival, and you can go to latinlife.com and actually view the actual parade we put together. But it wasn't a parade, it was a live streaming concert with artists and all the things that Carnival would have every year. But it was streamed live where people could donate money right on the platform to feed families in need that needed food. So you can go to latinlife.com and actually view the whole parade live streaming that we created. So you can actually go there and watch great bands and the beauty of Carnival for San Francisco. That's the way new entertainment's going to be done. You're already used to Netflix. You're already used to Amazon Prime videos, and we're streamers. Now you're streaming everything you're looking at. You're looking at YouTube, all that. So now viewing your favorite bands and all that live will be the next thing. And all your events will be streamed live, whether it's a basketball game or these things you won't be attending, you'll be attending through streaming. And that's a whole new business for like ads and companies and people that want to sell products are all going to be putting their ads in these streaming. You see it already in YouTube. You see the ads. You see all the things. The streaming's the same way. It's a new business. It's a new way of economy, and that's some of the things that we're doing. Also, we're proud to announce that we just signed a deal with a Mexican coffee company out of Guadalajara, Labora, and we're going to be building 150 new coffee houses here in America, and especially California, for expanding the brand. We're in charge of that, and we're in charge of the investment and a lot of that. So you'll see that coming here, and also there to San Pedro. We're looking at some places there to build some more places and expand. So there's expansion happening during the pandemic because now there's a lot of real estate that's available. There's some other deals that are available. There's restaurants and other places that are available. So it's a good time to invest also. So you got to take opportunities. We also have one of the biggest Hispanic branding companies that handles the ads and advertising for like Nestle, Snapple for the Latino markets. We're in charge of that now. So that's another company we just took over, Brand X, in the pandemic to help them build more brands and help brands from Mexico coming to the United States. We see more coming from Mexico to enter the United States market because it's a good time right now because it's affordable. So companies are pivoting in Mexico. They're pivoting here. So you got to understand that word pivot. Pivot's very important. That means you have to recognize what's happening around you and your surroundings and the business. So that way you can move your business right away into a pivoting position where you were going one way, but now the market has gone another, and you have to understand those metrics that, okay, we need to do something different, because if you stay doing the same thing, you'll be out of business like everyone else. And you don't want to do that. Obviously, I don't have hair. And I've been in Silicon Valley for a very, very long time, and I'm still here. And there's a lot of people I know over the years that aren't here anymore. And just a few months ago, there's a lot of people that are not here any longer. When the pandemic started, it actually caused a lot of companies to go out of business. So we're still here. We're still going strong. And we're building a future as we do every day. You just saw that the United States launched 2 astronauts into space. So our technology, SpaceX, was grown here in Silicon Valley. And those types of ideas and those things happen here. And they can happen anywhere. But you got to know when to pivot. It's very important. And you can do great things. Do any of your students have questions, Eric?
Yeah, there is one. There is one now that it says from Iker. It say, has the pandemic and or its riots and protests affected your business in any way?
The pandemic has actually increased our profits and actually has increased our workload. So what has happened is many companies like us went out of business because they weren't prepared or they were over invested. And so, but being born here and being through already 3 of these market bubbles and crashes, we know when it's coming, but we know when to pivot. So that means there's less companies like ourselves that are still here. So the ones that are left are the ones that are still doing the work and the workload comes in. So we know how to last through these. We know how to pivot through these. So companies come to us, and a lot of companies are distressed and they come to us in their distress. For us, that's an opportunity because we can acquire a company much less with cash than it would be in a regular time. So sometimes it's good for us, and we can get through it. And this one we're getting through very well.
Okay, Dave, tell us, how do you approach Mexican or Latin American startups? I mean, what is your criteria to get along with them?
Well, you got to remember that we've been in Mexico, and I've traveled all over Mexico, and I've met at the different, Monterey Techs and different pitch events and all the different areas. Basically, it's you have to be boots on the ground, and you have to go meet these people, and so you get known in those circles. So then people just start, after years of doing it, people know us. They know our brand in Guadalajara. They know us in Veracruz. They know us in Mexico City, San Pedro, especially Monterrey. Uh, so the word gets out there, and then they know that, hey, Chile, we're in Chile, we're all over, and they know that we'll listen. They know that we'll listen, whether it's the smallest startup, the biggest startup, we'll listen. But we're very to the point. We don't sugarcoat anything. We'll let you know, hey, this is not a winner. This isn't the way to do it. As you've seen, our way of doing things is a lot different because we don't have time. We don't have time to waste. And that's what we're known for. We move fast, we build fast, and we get it out there because the world's not waiting. It doesn't wait. You got to do it now. We're doers, not talkers. You got to remember that. Work smart, not hard.
What about the J projects that you saw previous years and recently?
The A projects are very exciting. You're very young at life then, but when you build a project, you got to take it the whole way. We can't just build a project and then say, okay, we did it. We got to know that, hey, if it's a real project, we got to build it out and go the whole way, you know. And I saw a couple projects there that went the whole way that did very well. And but like all projects, 100 projects and maybe one will make it, maybe two will make it. Um, and that's a hard thing to accept, So, but the projects that I saw were very well done. Presentations were well done, and matter of fact, they were much better than some of the presentations I've seen here in Silicon Valley from some of our own startups from Stanford. Congratulations.
Great, great. Okay, you mentioned that you have been talking with, can we, about some startups in Guadalajara and other places. Can you tell us a bit more about where are you investing right now and what companies are you interested in investing on?
Well, right now, for venture capitalists and for investors all over the globe, they've stopped investing across the board in Mexico too. We've talked to a lot of investment houses in Mexico, and they have shut down completely because they're trying to save their cash right now, and it's happened all over the world. That's why a lot of the startups here in Silicon Valley have gone under, and many of the VCs have stopped their funding. It's been across the board, And what VCs and all these people are looking for now is they're looking for solid projects that are already making money, that already been in business for like 5 years. They have big, strong criteria. Now, Mexican VCs are much different. They want to see 10 years. They want to see, because Mexican VCs are different than American VCs. American VCs accept risk in the companies. Mexican VCs do not accept risk at all, not any way, shape, or form. So that's why Mexican VCs have been hard to get investment from, and because their criteria is a lot different than here. Here, we do accept risk in some of our startups, but not as much anymore. It's a very, right now, they're hoarding the cash, they're keeping the cash, they're not investing, they're not fulfilling their agreements because of the pandemic, because of this whole thing. So the way that investing happens now is not through VCs much anymore. That is kind of stopped. Y Combinator, 500 startups, all the same. That's why everybody has gone to crowdfunding, trying crowdfunding, where we have a crowdfunding platform that works very well within the Draper, Meet the Drapers at Republic, works very well. But on all crowdfunding, what you got to understand about crowdfunding is it takes money to raise money. You have to have a minimum budget to work with crowdfunding, and it'll work for you. It's a long process, and as Eric knows, it's not an easy process. You know, it's crowdfunding is a job too, and but like anything, you're raising money. Raising money is not. Everybody thinks it's so simple. It is not simple. That's something that we work on every day, and we help companies crowdfund, but they also have to have a really good system and a real good value backing them. You know, so we're going to see that in 2021, the way that money's raised and crowdfunding is done is going to completely change.
What are some of these changes, for instance?
Well, the SEC, which is the government, is going to release some restrictions, so it'll be easier to raise money, easier to advertise, easier to do things. So it'll be more simplistic, so more people will be able to invest. So because the VC pond is really shrinking, so maybe to free up more cash, they'll be able to do that. Also, we're going to see much more smarter startups that will have more ideas that help the environment and help the different unrest we're having here in the United States and around the world, and also the pandemic. You know, the pandemic has created many different businesses when it comes to delivery, service, all these things have changed completely. So there's more businesses being made out of the pandemic than anything, and we're still seeing them. So 2021 is going to be a completely different world. So when we open up again for business, you know, especially in Mexico, it's going to be 2021 is going to be very different. The way we do business different, many different, but those are all opportunities. You just can't sit back and wait. You got to be part of the movement, part of the change.
You as an investor, what would you be taking an eye on? I mean, if you see an entrepreneur or a new startup or new kids with a great idea, what would you be taking in consideration from now on?
Well, the best thing, the biggest thing right now is we've been able to acquire 3 different companies that are really substantial in the millions of dollars in the last few years. I mean, the last few months, that we would never had a chance to acquire in a regular market. Never would happen. And basically with the strategy that we use is that, you know, we have you're only as strong as your network. Your network is your value, you know, and Dave Martinez Ventures is of great value right now because we're still here and we're still representing, but now we're acquiring companies and taking them over and bringing them in because of our brand, because we're still strong and we're still running, and we're taking a company that has just been devalued, and us coming on board and bringing it in brings their evaluation back up again. So it's almost like cash. So, and most venture companies like that, like Andreessen Horowitz, a lot of them, Kleiner Perkins, is that they're using their brands right now to acquire companies with no cash. It's never been done, but it's happening because these companies know that when they're connected to a brand, that their evaluation goes up and the money goes up. So it's a good time for us right now. You know, it comes down to that we paid our dues. All the years that we put into it is now paying off.
We made recently a trip with some kids to Silicon Valley, and we visited you over there. Tell us your point of view or your side, your experience with these kids over there.
Oh my goodness, that was a interesting trip, Eric, with those kids. You know, and well, I'll say this: a lot of kids that come here to Silicon Valley think it's something like a Disneyland of venture capitalists and billionaires and Facebook and Google, and you know they're going to get to go in and see all these amazing things, and you're going to see SpaceX and Tesla and all that. Well, you don't. You can go to the fringes of it, and I think they were excited and not excited at some places, but they sure like the shopping malls. So that's one thing they like, you know, because there's a technology. But you know, their ideology of looking at Silicon Valley wasn't what they thought. You know, they visited Google, they visited Facebook, but it wasn't anything like they thought. Now, when we took them to Microsoft and we took them to other places, and like to the Drapers to meet Tim, those were real entrepreneurs. You know, those are real people doing things and working on things and doing those things. There, they had some hands-on, and they were quite excited and happy, and as everybody. And meeting a billionaire, the guy who created Tesla, the guy who created SpaceX, you know, with his money as an investor, and actually got his book, and he signed it for them. You know, that doesn't happen in Silicon Valley every day. So sometimes the magic happens. You know, you might have that 1 minute where you might meet that one person that'll change your company, change your life. That's why I always say, always have the 1 minute elevator pitch ready to go. There you go.
Okay, would you recommend to the young entrepreneurs that are today doing things with all this pandemic and with all these problems that we are experiencing right now?
Well, you always got to remember that when you're building something or creating a company or whatever, you want to be solving a problem in today's world. Something that's happening in today's world that solves a problem. You don't want to create a problem or look at something that's been done already 100 times, but you want to solve a problem that's simple, simplistic, easy. You don't want to make it difficult. You don't want to make it labor intensive, but you have to be simplistic, and it has to be simple and simply done, and without a lot of resources. So those are the key elements in today's world.
Okay, I would like to open the questions to the audience. If you would like to, you guys would like to add something or ask something to Dave. He has been working with many of these big companies there in Silicon Valley and also investing in new companies. I remember first time I was there with him, we visited a small company that just managed to have received an investment of $20 million the previous week, right? And I think it's not there anymore. I mean,
And you were amazed at just the whole thing, you know, and the amount of money they were burning $500,000 a month, and didn't think anything about it. You know, and we tried, they came to us and we tried to tell them that, you know, with all your money and everything there, it's going to end. And they didn't think so. They said, oh no, we're going to have this. And well, I ended up liquidating that company. And I actually, there's another thing we do here in Silicon Valley when a company does go bankrupt or out of business. They even asked me to sell their tables and chairs. And that happened in the first bubbles. I had companies that liquidated, and there's companies here that liquidate assets. And we liquidated their assets, and but I also acquired things from the company. You know, it's like their co-founder, Dana Farbo, which is really a great guy, became one of our partners, you know, out of that. So it was kind of a semi-acquisition liquidation. So, and we kept the IP, which is intellectual property. We actually got the IP and we have that. So
Hello.
got the IP very reasonable, and the company will still live under another name.
Okay, great. Okay, Dave, I think if somebody has a question, I mean, there are a few questions again regarding if all these problems, riots, protests, and all this going on is really affecting your business. You mentioned that it isn't. It's exactly the opposite to you, right?
Well, we're here in San Francisco. We had the riots 2 nights ago. The city center has been empty already for months, so there wasn't a lot of people down there, and it's not a populated area, so they just you know, this has just been an opportunity for some, you know, bad people to go rob stores and do this, and you know, they've done it and it's over already. Cities it's not bothering us any. The other cities are preparing, but what it did do, it's going to put a slowdown on the rebuilding of the economy because it's affected all the states. So getting back to work again has been just put back a little further now. But like I was telling my partner, Reddy, that, you know, in a few weeks it'll all be over again and we'll be back going again, because that's just, we've been through it before. Lasts about 2 weeks and then civil unrest is done, and then we're back to rebuilding again. And like I said, for a lot of people, it's opportunity. It's there's going to be construction. There's going to be all these things, putting people back to work to get it all back together again. It's just a cycle of what we go through. But we're fine.
Okay. Well, Dave,
I'm looking out my window here, and I see people surfing, so it can't be that bad.
Great. Okay, Dave. Well, we appreciate your keynote. It was very interesting, and especially what is interesting is your point of view on how things are happening, being in Silicon Valley, being an expert on the area, being an expert in startup investment, and what I see is that you, on your side, you are just running even better than before. The things,
100%, 100%.
And yeah, we invite all these kids that are doing great things, great innovations, to contact you if they can. I mean, I have your information there, and also you have access to the J platform, so you can see all their projects. And if there is some interest in one of them or few of them, just let us know. We will be happy to share their information. Okay.
Okay, great. All right. You guys have a great day.
You too, Dave. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for participating in this conference, and we'll see at the closing ceremony in a few hours, okay? In a couple of hours.
All right. Adios, everybody.
See you. Bye-bye.